Dressing for Mississippi weather. It's hard to do. You never can tell what it's going to be. And it can change in an instant. For instance, this morning, there was frost on my windshield at 4:30 in the morning. I mean thick frost. Ice. So I put on a pair of insulated underwear, a pair of regular blue jeans, a moisture wicking long sleeve t-shirt, this button-up shirt you see I'm wearing, which is it's pretty much a thin poly cotton mix. I put on a pair of bib overalls, and I put on a lightweight jacket just over that. Now I'm guessing, I didn't check the weather, but I'm guessing it's in the 60s. And I forgot, I put on boot socks too. And it's gotten quite warm, middle of the day. And now I probably can get by with just blue jeans and a short sleeve polo and be just fine. But don't start out with that. I can tell you that. If you'd have done that, or if I'd have done that, I'd have froze to death, because I'd have went on my little walkabout this morning. But you never can tell. Now, I'm gonna kind of give you, for instance, of course there's weather extremes everywhere you go. And it's all really dependent on where you grew up, I guess, and what you consider extremes in weather. The new neighborhood Walmart's coming up. But anyway, a little bit of a funny story was right after me and your mama got married, we were in a newlywed class. And in this newlywed class was Uncle Lloyd and Aunt Kristen from Pennsylvania. And I don't know if either one of them had ever been to Mississippi before. I don't think so. But consequently, I'd never been to Pennsylvania either, so there you go. And at that time. And I'll never forget Aunt Kristen. It was December, I think. It was around Christmas time. And we had a warm spell move in, and it was 75, 80 degrees. And poor thing was just sweating, just profusely. We were at church. And she was just miserable. And I'll never forget her saying in her Pennsylvania accent, and I won't even try to do that, but I'll just tell you what she said. She said, "My goodness, it's not," and she didn't really say that, but something along those lines. She said, "My goodness," she said, "it is December and I'm sweating. It's not supposed to be this way." And she's right. If she was in Pennsylvania, I'm sure it wouldn't have been that way. So flash forward a few years, and I went to Pennsylvania in October. And this was my first time to go to Pennsylvania. I went bow hunting up there with Caleb. First time there. The last morning we were going to go hunt, it was like 10 degrees. And I was in a nice warm house. And Caleb says, "All right, it's time to go deer hunting." he opened that door and there's a blast of cold air coming in there, and I said, "Are you sure we're going?" And he said, "Oh yeah, we're going." Well, long story short, it turned out really not to be all that cold. To me, it was a different kind of cold. It was a little bit more dry, a dry cold. So flash forward after that, or maybe in around that same time, I had to take a group of collegiate 4-H'ers to Minnesota, and I believe that was in January or February. But Minnesota was so cold, and it was like negative temperatures. Now, I've seen negative temperatures here in Mississippi, believe it or not. I think the winter of 1983 was about the coldest I ever remember it being in Mississippi. It may have been colder since then, but that's about the coldest I remember, because it was in negative temperatures. I remember one temperature reading being -10. So it was cold. It was cold, you couldn't stay outside. But anyway, going back to Minnesota, we went there, and I was really shocked at how cold can be, because we were staying in a hotel, and when the doors opened to that hotel, it literally was so cold it took my breath. I mean, just like it sucked it right out of you. That has to be the lowest temperature I've ever been in, along with that type of reaction. You know, I mean, down here, I guess you kind of get used to the initial shock, and, you know, you deal with it. But that was cold. So it's important to know how to dress for your weather where you're not miserable. But down here, it's pretty difficult. I'm sure that could be said from other states as well, but all in all, it is hard to know how to dress for any given day unless you watch Weather Channel, which I do every morning, except this morning. But I wouldn't have changed anything I did, because at daylight and you sitting out in the woods, it is cold. And I can tell you something, don't trust what the temperature is when you leave the house if you go hunting. Because what happens is right before daylight, all of that warm air gets sucked out of the atmosphere. And that's why, here's the big dun dun dun, that's why if you've been outside before daylight, and then all of a sudden as it's getting daylight, you all of a sudden get really, really cold. And that's why, because all the warm air, whatever air it is, like say if it was a 40-degree day, all of that temperature all of a sudden drops. And it takes a while for the atmosphere to warm back up. So, and I'm no meteorologist, I just learned this because I was curious as to know why that occurred. But, so yeah, you got to learn how to dress.